the evangelicals' big league.
I'm a Protestant. I'm a Presbyterian. I'm a total believer. This is my confirmation class, June 1959, which is pretty good, right?
2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17. That's the whole ball game. We're going to protect Christianity. We've done great with the evangelicals. The evangelicals have been amazing.
God is the ultimate. I mean, God created this.
Believe me, if I run and I win, I will be the greatest representative of the Christians that they've had in a long time.
I brought my Bible. Okay?
And welcome everybody to the Brody File. We are glad you're with us. I'm back from vacation, hanging out with Snooki at the Jersey Shore. Actually, not true at all. We went on a cruise, Grand Cayman Islands. I set up a Brody File offshore bank account. I also went horseback riding in the ocean in Honduras. Yes, I also went to Mexico as well, where I told the locals, quote, Donald Trump is going to build a wall and you're going to pay for it. I did. I said it. No, I didn't say it. Hey, speaking of Donald Trump, time now for our exclusive Brody File interview with the Donald. And doing the honors, our wonderful, smart, capable new correspondent, Jenna Browder. She was on the scene in Orlando where Trump was laying out a plan to protect pastors from the IRS. He addressed hundreds of faith leaders at the Pastors and Pews Conference, saying that the government has been trying to hinder the influence of Christians in the political system for years. Here is Jenna with the exclusive.
How did it go in there?
I think it really went well. I think the people are fantastic. We had a record crowd of pastors, mostly pastors, and their families, and I think it went amazingly well.
Donald Trump courting Christians on the campaign trail.
So I had a long, beautiful speech written, and I read it. I said, boy, this is boring. This is not what we want to talk about. Because I know a lot of the pastors. I know some of the pastors in the room, and I refuse to put them to sleep, right?
In true Trump style, the Republican presidential nominee spoke off the cuff.
Did you notice I took the teleprompters down, right? I had teleprompters. No, I had a speech written by a professional, and I said, I'm not reading this.
The crux of his speech, repealing the Johnson Amendment.
If I get elected president, one of the early things, one of the absolute first things I'm going to do is work on totally knocking out the Johnson Amendment.
The 1954 amendment was created by then-Senator Lyndon B. Johnson. It limits the free speech of pastors, essentially threatening to take away a church or nonprofit's tax-exempt status for endorsing or opposing a political candidate.
They get absolutely hit with the 501c3, which is the tax-exempt status, which is a tremendous hit. I mean, it's a shattering hit. And it really keeps them silent. Free speech is being taken away from people that are great people, from people that are saying good things, not bad things. And if I can do that, I will have done a great thing for religion as a whole, and it's so important to me.
And Trump knows it's a major selling point to get Christians from the pews to the polls.
The words I said today are so important, and I was honored to get the kind of ovation I got. But they understand, and I think it'll be a tremendous achievement if we can get it done. And I know we'll get it done if we can get elected. That's why I say on November 8th, everybody has to get up and vote. Because 4 years ago, the evangelicals just didn't vote. Christians didn't vote.
Trump is trying to change that by speaking at events like this one and by showing a softer, more humble side.
In your RNC acceptance speech, it was a really endearing moment. You said you thanked the evangelicals for their support, but you said, I don't necessarily always deserve it. Why did you say that?
Well, because I think I'm not perfect, and because I think maybe I'm less perfect than some people, but I have certain abilities that are good, like being able to do things. And I think I'll be able to do things that will be really great for the evangelicals and for others.
His speech, it came across as humble. It wasn't a campaign speech.
Donald Trump is not trying to be an evangelical preacher. I think what he's saying is he understands our problems, he understands our concerns, and he's going to be a champion for us.
I know when people don't like me, and that's okay. Either way, I'd prefer the liking, but sometimes it doesn't work out, no matter what you do.
But some are willing to look beyond that.
You know, a lot of Christians believe that you have been chosen for such a time as this. Do you believe that's true? And have you ever considered that maybe this is a divine calling?
Well, you know, I've heard that from others, and I've heard it from pastors. I've heard it from others, and I don't really even want to think about it because it's too big of a burden. But I can say this, that if I can do what I'm saying I can do, and I'm not only talking with the military and building it up and safety and security and, you know, because our country's in such bad shape in so many ways.
Divine calling or not, Trump says he is a friend to Christians.
And religious liberty, you talked about that some. You know, a lot of Christian business leaders are getting attacked, you know, because they don't want to support gay couples or they don't want to provide services. You've said in the past that you would defend these businesses. What would you do to protect these businesses?
Well, you know what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do to protect, and what I'm going to do, I think most importantly, is work on exactly what I talked about today. They believe so much in religious liberty, as I do, very much. Because without religious liberty, you don't have liberty. Okay, you don't have liberty.
And that's exactly what evangelicals want to hear. But Trump still has work to do. Most of these pastors are on board, but admit he wasn't their first choice.
Some of the things with Donald Trump, not sure exactly what we're going to get. We'll have to see. But with her, with Hillary Clinton, I know what we're going to get, and that just looks bad all across the board.
We can open up the voices of great people, the pastors and the ministers and the priests and the rabbis and people of religion. I think that will be something that I will be so proud of.
And now, through the miracle of television, look, Jenna has been transported from Orlando, right here to the set. Jenna, good to see you.
Good to be back.
Well, tell me, Orlando, you went to the beach. No, maybe you didn't go to the beach. Donald Trump, what was that like behind the scenes with Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, it's a show. It is. It is. And especially now that he has the Secret Service, it's quite a production. So when we were interviewing him on Thursday, we had to meet with his advance team because they go before and they make sure that everything's good to go. And they walk you through, here's where we're going to go here, and then we're going to go there, and then we're going to go there. So it's a lot to go through. And then when the actual time comes to interview him, they come and get you, and you're there, and it all happens so fast. And so it's looking back now, it's a lot clearer. But it was interesting. It's an experience that I think, will stick with me for a long time.
What was it about Donald Trump? I mean, what did you think of him personally? I mean, I know he's very bombastic when he gets in front of 30,000 people, but what was he like in the room?
He shows a different side that I think a lot of people don't see. It's a softer, it's a more subdued side of Donald Trump, but he's very humble. He a very nice person, and it was really nice talking to him. Like I said, I think it's a side that a lot of people don't see. We all see on the news, on CNN, on MSNBC, on Fox News, this bombastic, bold, brash businessman. But there's a reason that he has so many wonderful people around him. There's a reason that I think he's been so successful. And that reason, he is very good with people. He knows how to work with people, for one. And then, as we've seen it, he knows how to get a message out, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on any of these platforms. He knows what he's doing.
And it's interesting because loyalty is a big part of it. A lot of people are loyal to him. Let me ask you about the pastors in the room. I mean, do you think he won the room? I mean, what was your sense from pastors after talking to them?
He did. After we spoke with Donald Trump, Mr. Trump, we went and got reaction from some different pastors. And we were speaking with them. We said, just give us your overall thoughts. What did you think of his speech? And a lot of them said they really liked his speech. They were very encouraged. He spoke about the Johnson Amendment and repealing that, which would give pastors more freedom to speak politically from the pulpit. So they really liked that. They also said, the ones we spoke to, they don't know everything that they're getting with Donald Trump. And a lot of them say he wasn't their first choice. But that, they say, is better than the alternative, which is Hillary Clinton. They say across the board, they don't like her party platform. And they think, Donald Trump may not be perfect, but he is going to be a friend to Christians.
Well, they've taken him this far, evangelicals. We'll see if they get him through the general election.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be exciting.
Jenna, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Brody File, we're going to have to see you a lot more.
I love it. I love the Brody File. I love being on this show.
Oh, well, I'm glad you like it.
I can't wait for this fall.
We'll send you a check. No, we're not going to send you a check. Oh my gosh, what did I just say? Thanks,
Thank
Jenna.
you so much.
All right, coming next, Hillary Clinton and the Bible. Don't laugh. We hear from the man who knows her well when it comes to her faith journey. We're back in a moment. And welcome back to the Brody File, everybody. All right, finish this sentence. Hillary Clinton is what? Well, what if I told you the rest of the sentence was a Bible-believing Christian? Now, many may chuckle, but don't tell that to Bernd Strider. He knows Hillary Clinton up close. We had a chance to talk with him at the Democrats convention in Philly, and he shares some of his insights with us on Hillary Clinton's faith journey here on the Brody File. When it comes to matters of faith, Bernd Strider has Hillary Clinton's ear. He has been close to her for years. He's a Southern Baptist from Mississippi. She's a Midwestern Methodist, and he sends her Bible verses every day. It is their way of staying connected.
It's been nearly a decade now where Hillary and I share reflections and devotions each day. Can't think of a day we've missed. Maybe we have.
But Brother Strider is always impressed by Hillary's Bible book knowledge.
I'm sharing, Christian devotions with a person who knows a whole lot more than I do on any topic, but including the Bible. And the worst thing for me is to remember a scripture, so I just write it down and I send it.
Yeah.
And then she'll email back. She's like, "Well, you didn't cite this. Where is it?"
She wants a footnote.
I say, "Well, when I was in high school and learned it in Sunday school, it was in the book of Matthew chapter 8. And then she'll email back and she's like, "Well, apparently they've moved it."
But Hillary has plenty of critics when it comes to her faith. Most say she is not adhering to any sort of biblical moral code based on many of her public policy positions and some famous ethical episodes. What do you say to folks that they hear the faith talk about Hillary Clinton from a Methodist perspective and they say either we don't buy it or, that's not the brand of Christianity, that we know. What's the reaction to that?
Sometimes it can really frustrate me. Like, really can. Kind of that, Mississippi, kind of that redneck on the back of my head can stand straight up.
Right.
And that's when I need to, walk away and let it settle down. But it's because I want to say, I'm like, but brother, I think that it's incumbent on you to recognize that I know her and that you should believe or at least trust what I'm telling you.
Strider says when people really get to know Hillary, they're going to see a different side of her. He harkens back to a time when she was a member of a Methodist church as First Lady of Arkansas. All right, when we come back, President Obama and the African American community, what will be his legacy? Some answers next. And welcome back to the Brody File, everybody. Look, as much as rock-ribbed conservatives can't stand President Obama and his policies, his popularity within the African American community is through the roof. But will it stay that way after he exits the White House? We actually spoke to our good friend Roland Martin, host of News One Now, who opined on the matter from the DNC in Philly. Pretty interesting stuff. Have a look.
There will be a reassessment of the president's African-American legacy. Because there are a lot of people, and they've told me this personally, there are a lot of people right now who don't want to be fully honest. February 2017 is going to be a whole different conversation. And there's stuff there that one can be critical. Unfortunately, a lot of African Americans have not wanted to go there because, Chris House first black president, he's already getting so much criticism, I don't want to do that. And that's a real issue. But when it comes to fatherhood, look, here's someone who wrote a book, Dreams of My Father.
Right.
That's important. Someone who doesn't like to travel places and not be able to get back to the White House to be able to have dinner with his daughters. And so what he went through, he has taken that and made it clear that's not the dad I'm going to be, which is why you see him focusing on the kind of initiatives that he is focused on, the speeches that he has given, My Brother's Keeper as well, because when you don't grow up with your father, There's always that yearning there. Look, I got 6 nieces, I have 9 nieces, and my wife and I raised 6 of them. And with 6 of those nieces, father's not there. They call me Daddy, Uncle Roro. I have stepped into the space to do the role of the father, but there's nothing like the biological connection between child and father. So the president understands that. So that's one of the reasons why you've seen him respond the way he has. And so, no, overall, African Americans will look lovingly on the president, but I think there will be a strong critical analysis. We start breaking down very specific issues after he's out of the White House. And so trust me, I think you're going to see that a lot of folks will be very surprised by what they hear, and people start breaking down housing, economics, jobs. And so they'll go beyond the overall feeling, how it made us feel to have a black first family, but then begin to say, how do we benefit from this?
That is Roland Martin here on the Brody File. So what do the actual numbers look like right about now? Well, take a look. The president's support among African Americans. First of all, there was a Gallup poll. It was out this month. Overall, 52% of Americans in the country approve of the job he's doing, but within the African American community, that approval jumps to 85%. And by the way, we should note that that figure has actually been much higher in years past. It's been in the 90s, so there is a bit of a drop. It's going to be interesting to see what the views are of Obama in the African American community in 5 years or so. All right. Coming next, Marco Rubio sits down with the Brody File. Jenna Browder nabbed our exclusive in Orlando. His advice for Christians in this election when we come back. And welcome back to the Brody File, everybody. Well, look, our Jenna Browder here at the Brody File, keeping very busy for sure. I mean, first, her exclusive interview with Donald Trump. Now, Marco Rubio. I mean, what's next? The Dalai Lama? Kim Kardashian? Holy Gavolt, I hope we don't see that. Jenna and Marco, by the way, that sounds like a reality series on Bravo, sat down in Orlando at the Pastors and Pews Conference to discuss Trump and the evangelical vote. Have a look.
A lot of pastors are conflicted about voting for Donald Trump. Ted Cruz at the RNC said, vote your conscience. Where do you stand on that? What would you say to pastors who are still conflicted?
Well, I think we'll all have to make our own choices here. I can only tell you why I made mine. But I can say that my view is one of the most important issues awaiting our country is the appointment of a ninth Supreme Court justice. And for those of us who care about religious liberties, the ninth Supreme Court will help determine that. And the justice being replaced is Justice Scalia, who time and again proved that he, in the history of our country, was one of the leading jurists in applying the Constitution as originally intended. And I think we have no chance of getting Hillary Clinton to appoint someone like that. Donald Trump is committed to appointing someone like that. And so that is one reason why I think people may consider voting for Donald, even though they have some differences with him on some other issues, as I do. But again, I just don't believe there's any chance at all that Hillary Clinton would ever appoint someone to the Supreme Court with the views that Scalia had.
After a pretty heated race, where do you stand in supporting Donald Trump?
Well, for me, obviously I wanted to be the nominee, so this is not the choice I wanted us to have because I ran. But for me, it comes down to a choice between someone like Donald, who I disagree with on a number of issues, and Hillary Clinton, who I disagree with on every issue. And that's the choice before us. And so that's why, and plus I signed a pledge. When I was running for president, I signed a pledge that I would support the Republican nominee. So I'm going to keep my pledge and support Donald, even though I have some differences with him, because I disagree with Hillary on everything. I think she would be disastrous for our country.
Marco Rubio with Jenna Browder here on the Brody File. Hey, while we're on the subject of Marco Rubio, did you know that he has a wide range when it comes to his musical interests? It's true. Wait till you check this out. We want you to look at a past clip from a Brody File interview.
I use my iPad to listen to music sometimes. You know, look,
I like this rap music.
I do. Look, I especially from the 90s, it's not wholesome, and that's why my kids don't listen to it, and that's why I can never play it at any of our events. But I respect artistic talent, even though I disagree perhaps with the content of some of the things they say. There's a young man in Miami, his real name is Armando Perez, but they know him as Pitbull. He's very talented and certainly been very successful Cuban-American. But we also, by the way, have become fans of contemporary Christian music. I mean, we listened to Sanctus Real, Mercy Me. You know, Mac Powell from Third Day has become a friend of ours, and that we met at one of the retreats.
Pitbull, Mercy Me, like a vault. Hey, speaking of music, we here at the Brody File decided to come up with the perfect music playlist for both the Trump and Clinton campaigns. We thought to ourselves, look, what songs would be appropriate to play at their campaign rallies? So here we go. Here's the Trump playlist from the Brody File. Number 5, how about Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd? Jerome, you like that, right? It's one of your favorites. Jerome giving me the thumbs up on camera. Number 4, Don't You Want Me Baby? I won't sing it, the Human League. Number 3, Killing Me Softly with his song. The GOP establishment knows all about that. Roberta Flack on the vocals there. Number 2, Against All Odds, Phil Collins. I mean, I think that's pretty appropriate. And of course, number 1, drum roll please, You're So Vain. You probably think this song and this script is about you, and it is, by the way. And now the Hillary Clinton playlist. Number 5, I Made It Through the Rain. Barry Manilow sung that. You know, I mean, because she has all these issues. Number 4, Twist and Shout. She's doing a lot of twisting, a lot of moving, a lot of jabbing, and she shouts a lot. Number 3, Won't Get Fooled Again by The Who. Jerome, that's a classic. That's another, barely a thumbs up on that one from Jerome. Number 2, Jailhouse Rock. Elvis, a lot of conservatives think that would probably be number 1. But number 1, no, Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson. Hey, that's not the Brody File saying that. We're just saying some tips for Hillary if she wants to play these at her rallies. I'm thinking she probably doesn't. Back in a moment. And we're back here on the Brody File. Look, we love TV bloopers, especially when anchors are messing up. We love that. So without further ado, here are a few favorites for you, our Oy Vey moments of the week.
This is BBC News. I'm Carol Walker.
Practice, what is that? That's because it's hot outside. Stuff like that happens. Was that live? Are we live?
Gotta love it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, God bless. Have a great week.